up, YouTube? So, while I'm in the process of making the part 2 of the unanswered questions video, I figured I'd make a video showing off just some of my favorite little like places and things and details in Risk of Rain. And if you're watching this on the day of release, it's my birthday. I just turned 22. I figured I'd do that for Risk of Rain because there's a lot of really cool details in this game. A lot of them out of bounds too. You never really get to look at. So, and I have the tools to do that. So I figured I'd make a video showing it off. One of the first ones I want to talk about is, so this is more of a well-known one, but on one of the stage ones you can find this, which is actually a remnant of one of the Risk of Rain 1 bosses. I believe his name was Colossus. And yeah, he's just out here. You can't normally reach him. As you can see, there's no collision for any of this. But it's still really cool. I mean, it's a nice little nod. We'll talk about this in a second. It's a nice little nod to Risk of Rain 1 and the foundations of Risk of Rain 2. Because he didn't make the cut for the bosses you fight. So, it's a shame. A lot of Risk of Rain 1 bosses I would have loved to see transferred over to 3D, but, you know. While we're out here, actually, show off these guys. These guys, I love these little dudes. So, I'm not sure if they're ever named in the files or anything, but they float around on these stages. They're just out here, and I'm sure a lot of you probably noticed them already. But you actually can shoot, kill them, like just explode in feathers. And yeah, they're just kind of out here. They just hang out and vibe. Also, in case you ever wondered, this actually, even if the door is shut and you get that generation, all this stuff is still back here, and you actually can have a Newt altar spawn back here. So, if you're playing Loader or Artificer with enough items, you can usually get around this thing. Now on to Siphoned Forest, which is actually one of the first things when I was playing this map that made me want to make a video kind of like this. Is I was kind of looking around, and I saw that off in the distance. I'm like, what the fuck? You know, what is that? That towers above all the rest of it. And so, you know, I went out there. Oops. Checked it out. And it's really cool. It's this massive, like, I don't even know, just structure. And it has collision too, which is weird because you can never get out here. You get teleported back. And this thing's big. You know, it's like it towers above the trees. Yeah, in case you've ever wondered too what the tree line looks like, it's fake. It's an illusion. It's just a bunch of cones up top that just conceal the roof. But yeah, this thing just goes on and on. And what's weird too is like, so these are interesting, right? These little like half rings. They kind of remind me of Aurelionite's stage in a way. But the weird thing is like one pillar is like significantly bigger than the other one. Well, I don't know about significantly, but noticeably. Which is strange. I feel like they would have just copy pasted it. And yeah, these have collision, but they're not like accurate to the actual model. And they're kind of like rounded off. It's very weird. Oh. Actually bigger than I thought it was. Yeah, I don't know. Just this weird little structure out of bounds that you can only ever barely see in the actual stage itself. You know, you can only just barely see it. I'm not sure if it's meant to convey something or not, but yeah. So yeah, this cave gets cut off a lot of the time. It's like 50-50 chance, I believe. But it's always here, still. Even when you can't reach it, it's still rendered in. Yeah, just like, so a weird thing to note too is like these remind me a lot of the red tape from the desert map. That like red tape that marks off the entire zone from the out of bounds area. So I'm not sure why it's here. You can't really ever tell unless you get high up enough to see it. But there actually is a bridge right here that originally I thought it was a dam, but I think it is meant to represent some kind of bridge or something. Because when you're in here on this stage, when you get this cave, there's this there's this weird, I'm not even really sure, door tunnel thing behind it, or tunnel behind the door. So, and you normally can't get here because it's an invisible wall, but I don't know, it's weird because it doesn't exactly line up with the bridge, so I'm not really sure, because, you know, as you'll see later, the Risk of Rain maps that were added with the Seekers of the Storm update are all kind of more interconnected than the original ones. You can actually see some of them from the other ones, as I'll show off later. So here we are on Titanic Plains, and there's not too much to show here, but I did always want to get a close look at the some of the structures out of bounds. But it's still kind of cool to see a lot of them up close. What's doubly weird too is like this collision out here. Like most of these flat areas have collision for some reason, even though you can never reach it. None of the structures tend to either, which is strange. It's just the geometry, really. I wonder why they bothered making it all the way out here, you know? Like, I wonder what developer, when was putting the level together, just decided to slap collision on all this. I don't know, very interesting. To me, at least, I find it interesting. I love little things like this. Little, like, out of bounds. Like this. Like, what? Who put all this here? Now, Verdant Falls actually has a couple things that I noticed when I was exploring. So, one of the weird things about this stage that never really made sense to me is, like, where the hell all this water's coming from? It's just, like, constantly pooling down from up there, right? Or pouring, I guess, not pooling. I mean, it pools down here, but it's just constantly pouring down from up there. So, you know, I was like, oh, I wonder if they actually bothered to model all that. And no, they didn't. Of course not. Why would they? But, yeah, in case you ever wondered what the inside of the flowers look like, there you go. I'm not sure if you can reach up here normally or not. I think there is, like, a teleport roof right about here. And all of these, by the way, don't have tops rendered to them. They're all pretty much just reused from the same flower. When I was looking around the stage, I wanted to get a closer look at a lot of the wreckages. And it's not all of them are pretty interesting. There is one out here, which is a little weird. It's kind of just off to the side. You can't really see it. It's kind of hidden behind a lot of stuff. And then this is another one of the personal ships from the UES contact light, which I believe this is actually supposed to be a piece of it. Which, for those of you that don't know, so Risk of Rain 2 sequel, obviously. In the first game, there is this cargo ship called the UES Contact Light that is destroyed and crashes on this planet, and that's where all the crates come from. All the, you know, printers and containers and everything that you find while you're playing Risk of Rain 2, those are the cargo that the UES Contact Light was hauling before it got destroyed. So any, like, wreckages you see, or like pieces of ships or vehicles, tends to, well, I'm not gonna say tends to, I'm pretty sure it's like all from the contact light, with the exception of the you know, captain and his ship, the Safe Travels, I believe it's called. Oh yeah, there's also, so some of you probably know this, but in case you didn't, there is a little hidden Newt altar down here in this little cave you can find. I'll probably show off any of this special hidden Newt altars I find in this video as well, just so that you get a little educational information from it, I guess. Another interesting thing is the skybox on this level is just a bunch of silhouettes, obviously, and they do that pretty commonly, but you can actually see another big-ass flower over there. And there's actually a lot of really interesting stuff tucked away in the skyboxes of these maps. And here we are on the night version of this stage. And not a lot is different, I think. Yeah, it's mainly just more overgrown. But the moon, see what I mean? The skyboxes, man, they're gorgeous. The ambiance on this stage is very nice too. I have the music turned off because there's some ambiance noise that I do want to particularly highlight eventually in this video. I'll see it later. A lot of it's pretty fucking creepy, honestly. But this one's quite pleasant, actually. I really like it. But yeah, this level's more the same, honestly. It's just a bit more overgrown, nothing. But I do want to go up here and take a look at this, because this actually is 3D rendered in. Really gives you a sense of scale, huh? A lot of the stages in this game are much smaller than you think. Yeah, check this out. Oh, it's even got this cool little, whoa! It's got this, like, rippling texture to it. What's inside? No, nothing. Figures. How cool, though, that they modeled this whole planet and didn't just make it you know, something in the skybox. Here's what it looks like from behind, in case you've ever wondered. Now, this stage does actually have a few things I want to show off in this video. One of the first things I did want to highlight on this stage is, so, this is kind of more of a well-known thing. This is tying back into what I was saying earlier too, with the stages kind of connecting. Is if you head back here to this, the large, big main like temple, you can find this door back here, which from my understanding is meant to seem like it's heading to the Reformed Altar stage. As you can kind of see, it goes down, and there's some of the crystals and stuff you see, which implies that the statue is supposed to be back here, that you can never really see it. Unless, of course, this descends much farther down and out, or for some reason. It's just a cool little thing with the stages being intertwined. You can actually go back here, and there's not really anything back here. Oh, shit. There's not really anything back here. It just kind of goes, oh yeah, look at that. Okay, so yeah, it is meant to go down towards the cave. I think that's pretty obvious. Then the night version of the stage is more or less the same. There's not really any difference with it compared to the other night stages. It's just, oh, I don't know, bluer, I guess. There is this weird structure here that I'm not sure. Holy oh, wait, that's cool. It's like a veil around the whole thing. I never noticed that before. Actually, now that I'm looking, I wonder what's down here. Oh, whoa! Oh, this is like a whole chasm. Interesting. Oh, that's weird. Look at that. You can see where they just stretched the texture. Oh, and look at that. The door is grown over on the night version and closed. Very interesting. I wonder what it looks like back here. Oh, okay. They just reused the... Makes sense, yeah. Alright. This is one of my favorite stages to play on. And just aesthetically as well. I really like the abandoned desert aesthetic. Big Journey vibes on this map, if any of you ever played that game. So, more crash ships, and the contact light, oh, look at that. That's cool. I didn't actually know they'd try and get me while I'm out here. Oh, very interesting. Well, that's probably going to get annoying. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know or just haven't tried, if you go out of bounds on this stage, your vision, it won't, you know, in this case, but your vision will start getting dark and you'll start getting attacked by the tar parasite stuff I was referencing earlier when I was talking about the other stages. Is like the rings with the red rope. This was all designated, so whoever made this, you know, built it all to designate the safe zone. But yeah, I mainly just wanted to get some good close-ups of a lot of the skeletons out of bounds. Of what I assume are the worms of Providence, which have been killed by the tar, perhaps? I don't know, it's not really ever stated. Yeah, just a lot of like dams and buildings, and really cool thing. If you've ever wondered what's outside of bounds, there is a massive ocean of this tar shit. It just goes on for a long distance. Yeah, so I guess this desert, whatever this is supposed to be, aqueduct, I guess. It's just in the middle of this massive ocean of this tar stuff. And this is what the top of the aqueduct looks like, in case you've ever wondered. They actually did bother to model it, put collision on it, these little grates and everything. And yeah, it's just this layer of the tar that I assume is, you know, meant to flow out from the ocean, but it's not exactly connected in the right way. Of course, you're never going to be able to see any of this from the regular playing field, but yeah, this is more of a well-known one. I use this one a lot, but there is a newt altar hidden up here in the skeleton's mouth, and I believe this one is guaranteed. This one will always be here. So on to Wetland Aspect. There's not too much here, in all honesty. Yeah, there's not too much going on. Some of the trees are kind of interesting. They do go up for a long time. Particularly these ones over here are really, really tall. And there's not like really anything at the top of them. I believe a lot of them just end with, yeah, either leaves or nothing. There we go. So, yeah, I mean, this is, in case you've ever wondered what the tree line looks like in Wetland Aspect, there you go. Let's see what's at the top of these ones, actually. Damn, these go up for a long time. Holy shit. Dude, do these things have a top? Like, I'm starting to think they don't. They just keep going and going. Dude, these things are massive. Didn't know Risk of Rain had the fucking Erd tree. Oh, I think we're finally reaching the end of them. Holy hell. Dude, these things are massive. My god. We are incredibly high off the ground. That's crazy. Obviously, these don't have... yeah, no collision. Figures. And here's the tippy top. Yeah, these things are huge. My god. I did actually want to show off a closer look at the skeleton. One of my favorite little areas in Risk of Rain. Yeah, you're never really able to get too close of a look at this guy, due to him, you know, shaking. If you touch him or damage him in any way, he explodes and you get the achievement to get Nakuna's opinion, or Nukahana's opinion. But yeah, just really cool looking guy. It's kind of strange. He appears to have like feet or hooves or something, because he has finger bones. As you can see, he does have finger bones, but no toes or anything, just these weird little stumps. And the horns obviously also stick out. Interesting. I can't tell if he's made of gold or if it's just the lighting, but I don't know. To me, it looks like he is made of a gold skeleton with these like purple, I guess, tattoos on him. They do move around and glow, so. Oh. Huh. That's interesting. I wonder why that's there. This little out-of-bound geyser over here, I guess. Yeah, strange. There's just these out-of-bound... Oh, are these like to... No, I don't know. Because I know this one spawns here in case you do get thrown back here. You have a way back. It is a soft lock prevention geyser, but I don't know what the deal with this one is. Now, this one actually, there really isn't anything to show off. It's all pretty, well, there. There's really nothing hidden on this one. I did a lot of exploring to look around, but it is still kind of cool to see the far-off geometry that you can't reach up close. You'll notice a lot that the developers made use of scale a lot to convey distance, because these things really aren't that far, but it makes them look a lot smaller, or it makes them look a lot farther away because they scale them down. And they do that a lot, and it's a lot more obvious on some of the other maps. There is this weird like black box over here. I think it was just a mistextured version of one of these platforms. I'm not really sure. And then here's the far off Sanctuary bridge you can see up close. And the sun actually is a physical thing you can fly over and like see. It's actually kind of like, I don't know, eye-shaped in a way. It's very strange, like a half circle it's cut off. And yeah, just a couple of the newt altars hidden around. There's also one that can spawn down here in this little cubby. Not exactly like super noticeable, I'd say. Now, this one actually does have a few things I want to show off. Most obvious one is obviously the feet of the Statue of Providence. Very big. While we're up here, there is a newt altar that can spawn right here. It's like tucked away. As well as there is one up here that you can actually reach this one, as long as you're playing like a loader or something. Some kind of movement ability. And I'm not sure if this one's guaranteed, but it's always spawned here for me every time I've checked for it. So, one thing I did, when I was first looking around to show off some places, I did actually want to come down here and look at Chef's area. So he's in this weird little... I'm really not sure why he is here or how he got here. But yeah, you can come down here and give him the items he requests, and then you can unlock Chef. But in case you ever wondered what he looked like up close, well, here you are. You can see he's holding his cleaver. Oh, he actually does have stuff grilling inside of him. Interesting. But there's really not a lot out here in his area. It's just kind of this big, weird gap, I guess. Because again, when you're in here, you'd never be able to see it. You can kind of like angle your camera a little bit and see that there's not much in there, but that's really about it. So, one thing that like not a lot of people notice, especially when you're in, you know, combat and all that, is all the growth, like overgrowth that's in the stage. That's kind of pouring in from the ceiling where you get the little rays of light. And you can't really ever get close enough to look at them. It's actually a really pretty flower. You can't really get close enough to look at them, or you get warped away a lot of the time. And the closest you ever can get is up here, where you can see there's like this hole over here. But if you get too close, yeah. But when I was out here, I actually wanted to come take a look at the outside of the altar, and you can see that it's got a lot of plant growth in it, strangely enough. And strangely enough as well, it has its own skybox, even though it's completely enclosed space that you can never see. And there's that weird thing, which I think is meant to represent one of these trees or roots or something, but yeah, just this strange thing in the skybox, I guess, that you can never really see from anywhere, as far as I know. It's not really something you can look out and see. On to the third set of stages. Rallypoint Delta doesn't really have anything that I could find. I don't know. There's really nothing. It's got some cool mountaintops, I guess. A pretty skybox. That actually will kind of play a part later. These have always kind of stood out to me. Just the weird 4 banners, I guess. I'm not really sure. Tattered cloth pieces, I suppose. They've always just stuck out. I'm not really sure why they're here. Oh, wait, never mind. That's why they're there. Okay, it's dawning on me now. I think these are supposed to be pieces of this that were stuck in this from when the cargo's crashed. Oops, I mean to do that. From when the containers fell off the ship. If the actual gun is... Oh, look at that! In case you've ever wondered, the gun is actually inside the crate at all times. Oh, one thing that I actually can show off is this statue. This little newt altar will always be up there. So if you have someone on your team with some verticality, easy lunar portal for you there. Alright, so on to Scorched Acres, which also doesn't have too much going on, honestly. It's everything you see you can reach. Some of the trees are cool. They play with that perspective trick I was talking a lot, where the farther they are, the smaller they get, in case you've ever wondered. And for those of you that watched my other video as well, you could see I had some footage of it, but if you come up here, this actually is reachable. Even though it is out of bounds, you can come up here and walk. And there's a dude altar that always spawns up here, just kind of looking over the forest, I guess. One thing that I didn't know when I was actually making that video is I saw this, which stuck out to me a lot, because this is just going to be me like spitballing, but it resembles the Bulwark, the artifact combinations you use to unlock the artifacts that you put in the stage 4 teleporter to go to the Bulwark's Ambry, which we will be taking a look at later because there's some really cool stuff there. Yeah, I don't know, it just always kind of stuck out to me weird. It's very resembling of those. But yeah, there really isn't too much to this stage. It's all just accessible, so they didn't really put too much out of bounds. Now, the Sulfur Pools actually do have some really cool shit going on with them that I want to show off. So they do reuse the same ambience from Scorched Acres stage. Something I've always really liked, I'm not really sure what these are, you know? Like the big eggs. Now that I'm looking at them, they're kind of moving. Well, I'm not sure if they're eggs. They might be. I don't know. They've always stuck out to me. They're so strange. But yeah, so this stage actually does have a volcano on it. You can see if I go over to it. It's like a sulfuric volcano over here. Now, it isn't actually 3D. It is just a flat texture with the illusion of a curve. But you can just faintly see there's some here. It's easier to show from down here. Yeah, a little sulfur volcano. There's really not too much going on down here. You can go underneath the actual level of what I assume to be acid. And there's just a floor right beneath it. There's nothing else really down here. But I do want to show off the skeletons that are out of bounds. You can just barely see. There's one over there and then one over here. And I find this one to be the more interesting one because you can only just see the tail. Not really sure what this strange structure is supposed to be, honestly. But you can only just see the tail of it, and it actually extends way out of bounds. And this thing's huge. This is like the biggest skeleton that you can find. The ones in the Aqueduct are much, much smaller than these ones. And like, I mean, just for a sense of scale, like I could crawl in this thing's eyeball. That'd be like the size of his pupil. Yeah, it's just kind of out here, and you can never see it other than its tail. Which is kind of a weird choice. The other one on the other side is also pretty big. Not as big as the other one. Well, I don't know, it's still pretty big actually. But yeah, this one's tail just sticks out. It's very strange to put them here. Another cool little thing that I've always kind of wondered about is like a lot of the flora and like plant life in this game is extremely alien looking, obviously. And it tends to have aquatic themes a lot of the time. And these little goober guys, I'm not really sure what they're supposed to be. Oh, they actually, whoa. That's cool. I did not know that they actually had physics to them. You can like knock them around and stuff. That's kind of neat, actually. But yeah, these little things just kind of hang around in this cave. I don't think they're anywhere else in the game, like at all. They're just here, just in this one cave on this one stage. Now, this stage, Treeborn Colony, actually one of my favorite stages they added in the Seekers of the Storm update. That way, I never seem to get it. Really cool. There's a lot of really unique stuff on this stage. For example, I bet a lot of you didn't know this, but there are these fruits you can find hanging around. You can actually shoot these for a health orb. They're one-time use each, but they're found hanging under a lot of the little overpasses. And you can just shoot these for an emergency little pick-me-up, I guess. A lot of the new stages had some really weird one-off interactables that I did really enjoy. I wish they'd put more of them in the game. So this stage takes place above the reformed altar of the lizards. And we know this because, well, for one, you can see the torso of the Providence statue, which is actually what this level is up against. Here's the torso and the hand and the sword of the big Providence statue. It's very cool being able to see all of it up close, and it goes down for a good bit, actually. They modeled the full thing. It's really cool. Even though you'd never be able to see it, yeah, they modeled his full sword. It is actually like an actual big statue of him. And I didn't touch on this in the other stage, but if you get close to the statue a lot of the time, you can see these like weird scar mark things, I guess, that have this like glowing gold soul effect to them. Now, I'm calling it a soul effect is because for those of you that know about the lore of Risk of Rain, Providence, brother of Mithrix, who was one of the final bosses you can fight, he actually had an aptitude for soul. It was something he had control over, basically, and could imbue things with. And this statue was to enhance those properties, basically, and to help contain them. Well, I say contain, to help amplify them, I suppose is the word. One of my favorite features about the stage is if you're on it, and a lot of people, I don't want to say a lot of people don't know this, but gamers never look up, so I'm going to assume people didn't notice this, but you can actually, while you're playing on this stage, look up and see Prime Meridian up there, which is one of the things I was talking about where they interlinked a lot of the stages so you can see them from other points. As you come over here, you can actually see Prime Meridian up top from where the other hand is holding the statue, or the other hand of the statue is holding the stage. And you can never make it up here, obviously, there's an invisible wall, but a good chunk of the level's actually modeled, strangely enough. Nothing that, like, you won't be able to see, really, but a lot of it's there. It didn't really need to be. It's really cool. And one of my favorite things is the statue. If you come up to where the head is, it's just a blank face with this strange hat thing going on. Because obviously they didn't need to model it, you'd never be able to see it, so why waste the resources? But it's a very interesting thing. To me, at least, I find it interesting. You come out of the weird fog thing that's all over the map. A lot of the other, I'm not really sure what the word for these would be, huts, I suppose, are quite small compared to some of them, especially the further out you go, the smaller they get. Oh, actually, I had no idea this little guy was up here. I don't think I've ever seen this one before. I did actually want to get a closer look at the plants here. They're very cool. Oh, these are noxious thorns. Interesting. I never noticed that detail before. These are the noxious thorn items. So I suppose they are meant to originate from here then. Oh, and lore-wise, for those of you that don't know, this stage is, I believe, I'm not sure if it's ever confirmed, but the stage is inhabited by the beetles and beetle queens from their nests and the lore books you can read. It's inferred, implied, I guess is the better word. Interesting, this water just seems to be flowing in from somewhere, I guess. Inside the statue. Providence piss water? So onto the variant of it, actually. I haven't done too much exploring of this one, truth be told. Oh, this is... Hey! It's kind of like the, blue ones. Yeah, so... Whoa! Huh. The statue has a big-ass soul coming out of it. That's interesting. I don't think I ever noticed it before playing on this. It's pretty obvious. I have really no idea how I didn't ever notice it before. Really pretty flowers, man. The flora in this game is so pretty. Not sure if I'm using that term right, but... yeah, it's pretty much all the same. There's not really too much of a difference to it, just more overgrown with mushrooms and stuff. Now, this actually is, before we start exploring, this is one of the stages I want to show off the ambiance to, because it is freaky, so I'm just gonna shut up for a minute and let you guys listen. There isn't any particular thing that's super interesting about the stage. It is really cool to get a close-up of all the decorations and stuff. So a lot of these things you get teleported away from before you get too close to them. Interesting enough, there is actually one hanging out here that you can never, like, really reach. I'm not even really sure you can see it in the... No, you can, yeah. I did want to show off the cave area. Which, just a cool little thing I noticed when I was, like, flying around this beforehand. There's this, like, lava stream thing out here. It's just... I don't know, you can't see it, and it's just always pouring, I guess, or going up. That's what it looks like to me. And it's a strange little thing I think the developers left out of bounds. But the cave's really cool. Like, the crystals... I'd never noticed this initially while playing, but the lanterns that are hanging from the roof have crystals in them. There isn't any fire on the stage. All the illumination comes from these crystals that I assume... well, whatever lives here harvests, and they just emit light. And these ones flicker for some reason, which some of the other ones don't do. Like the ones in the podiums flicker, but the ones that are on the walls don't, like the original. But whenever they've been harvested and, I presume, polished and cleaned or whatever they do to make these things usable, flicker. It's a very interesting note. I did want to show up. So this, I think the code of it in the files is damp cave simple, I want to say. So it's implied to be underground. And if you actually go out of bounds and look, it is a very strange sight. Like, there's just these massive walls of, like, holes and burrows, and I assume they're left from the magma worms, but I really don't know. And these things are everywhere. They go well out of the playable area and just intersect and interlinked, and they're... I don't know, man, they freak me out a little bit, if I'm being honest. They're so strange. So this stage actually has a lot of the wreckage from the contact light. Yeah, it has a lot of pieces, and that kind of plays a part in the lore of it a little bit. So the enemies that spawn here, the alloy vultures, they're supposed to be, like, extremely gifted with technology, like they just understand it for some reason. I don't know, they have some weird connection with it. And when the Solus probes, which I believe, I'm not sure if they came with the contact light, but there was evidently some of them on the contact light. They reprogrammed a lot of them to just kind of help them out and assist them. Cool little thing too. So this little Solus probe right here will actually, if he would do it, I guess he stopped. But this thing will turn on and blink this little blue light, and I believe it says hi in binary, or hello in binary. This one just stays glowing, I believe. Oh, there he goes. Yeah, so he'll occasionally just blink, and I believe it's hi or hello in binary. Another thing that's kind of always stuck out to me, and you can actually come up here normally, this thing is up here. I don't know what this is meant to be. I originally thought it was like a ship of some kind, or... I really don't know, because it's just so weird looking. Yeah. It's always just kind of stuck out to me. It's very strange. You don't see this anywhere else in the game, as far as I know. It's just this weird piece of machinery. And then out of bounds here, these massive fucking spines, there actually is a ground floor out here. Like a base of the mountain. And these massive spines, these things go on for a good bit. And there's just nothing past them. It's just a bunch of empty field. There's like literally nothing out here. A lot of you probably know this, but if you're new to the game and you've somehow stumbled across my content and don't, these eggs around the map, if you find these, you can break them. You can find them and break them, and they will summon a special boss that I will let you discover when you do it. And for those of you that have always wondered what's behind this door, it's nothing. It's just a bunch of nothing. There's literally nothing. Another thing I did want to show off is that there actually is a unused cave structure on this map that I assume, I guess they just never ended up using it when they were making the place. But yeah, there's this whole little, well, hole in the geometry. And there is like rocks and stuff out here that I assume you would have been able to see. Perhaps it would have looped down and around to this, but it's, yeah, it's just unused, leftover stuff. So this stage actually, fun fact, wasn't added in any particular DLC or anything, and it wasn't vanilla. It was actually a Google Stadia exclusive stage for a while until they eventually brought it to everything. And I really don't know why they did that. It was a very strange choice to make it a Google Stadia exclusive. There's not too much stuff, honestly, to show off on the stage. But the trees are actually pretty cool. You can see they're pretty big and pretty, funny, they're like kind of mushroom shaped. They like are bigger at the bottom and then taper off near the top. I'm not really sure exactly what trees they're meant to resemble, if any. But if you ever wonder what's down here below this fog, it's, you guessed it, fucking nothing. It's really not a lot out here. I assume the implication is supposed to be that this is one of those smaller baby versions of the tree, though I'm not sure why that has a hole carved down it. This is an interesting piece of geometry I never really thought about. There's not triangles really anywhere else. It's usually rings is the brothers' themes. Huh. So I'm sure a lot of you were waiting for this one, and rightfully so. The stage is cool as fuck. So this is Prime Meridian. A couple things I do want to show up on the stage. If you look down, you can actually see the Treeborn Colony down there, which is really cool. It's not super rendered, but it is here. I don't believe you can touch any of it. Yeah. But it's all here. And then you can also come down to the other hand and see the sword again. Yeah, so there's not too much to show off on this stage, but a couple things I did want to highlight are the actual, are some of the things out of bounds. That there really isn't a lot out here, but the lightning is actually like a 2D texture that will always face you, I believe. Like you can't get behind it, it's just always facing you. Oh no, I guess, no, I'm wrong. You actually can get behind it. And then the hand here, as you can see from Treeborn Colony, holding up the Colosseum. And I've always really liked this tree that's here. I don't know what it's about, really. I'm not super caught up with all the Seekers of the Storm lore and the story of the False Sun and all that. And then obviously this is the arena where you fight the False Sun. I did want to get a closer look at the statue here. So this is more of that soul stuff we were talking about. You can see on his thing. But he also, it appears to have been damaged at some point, which is interesting because I'm not sure what could have done that. And there's nothing really behind it. It is modeled, but it is a fully modeled, and all of these lights are one-sided texture, with the exception of that one, I guess. Yeah. It's very cool. Aesthetically, it's a very cool stage. There's just not too much outside of the playable area. Although this is kind of weird, this weird little cluster of rocks here. I'm not really sure why this is here. Oh, this is... oh. Interesting. You can walk on this. Huh. Wonder what that's about. But yeah, and in case you ever wondered what the stage looks like from far away, here you go. So, Sky Meadow, gameplay-wise, is actually a map I really enjoy. But in the terms of this video, there really isn't anything, if I'm being honest. There's pretty much nothing. I mean, the rocks up here are kind of cool. I'm pretty sure you can reach these normally, though. These aren't like an out-of-bounds thing. They have, yeah, you can walk on them, they have collision. The moon thing is pretty cool, though. It's all, like, broken and shattered. I don't think you can reach... Oh, no, you can. Yeah, it is... Okay, so it is tied to the character. So if I go into this photo mode, we can actually get a closer look at the thing and the perspective it plays. So you can see it's all broken and shattered. So here's my player character, and from its perspective, right, it works, but kind of falls apart if we break the angle of view you're supposed to be looking at it with. It is still pretty cool, actually. Actually, it's textured like rock, I suppose. And this stage has actually some really cool things on it. Before that, I did want to also highlight the ambiance here as well, as it is fucking freaky, so... So, a couple things I want to show on this map. I am kind of under the impression that these are eggs that have been burst or something. There's a couple of them around the map, actually. There's also more of the worm shed out here, you can see. It's not super obvious what it is from over there, but when you get close, it becomes a lot more apparent. One of the things I did want to show off, and I talked about this in my video, is this anvil room up here with the what I've gone to taken and calling is the forge room with the key fruits. No, I'm kidding. I saw somebody talking about the fact that these are probably just reused models because Gearbox didn't want to fuck with making a new model. I think that probably is correct. But yeah, you can see Providence's sword here. Well, a broken version of it. Presumably it's not the sword he used in the first game, as, you know, he was using it when he died with it. But a cool little detail here that I've always loved is the little frog up here. As the glass frog motif shows up a couple times in the lore with the brothers and in some other places that I'll show off. But yeah, this is a cool little... I assume these made out of like obsidian. Little frog up here in Providence's workshop. And then over here you can see the roots of that tree that was on Prime Meridian, or like a little sampling of it. So I assume wherever this originally led to somehow connects. And then here's a closer look at the worm corpse, which, yeah, also does have a nude altar inside of it. That I don't think this one's guaranteed. Yeah, really freaky thing. Other than this thing, I've always thought this thing is really weird and kind of stood out. I'm not sure what it is. But it's always just kind of seemed off to me. But out of bounds, there is a lot of these structures, and these ones are not kept in nearly as good condition as the rest. You can see those are all polished in gold, whereas these are all just burnt. There's not any particularly notable structures that I've been able to find, but it is just really cool to get up close to these things and just kind of see what they look like, I guess. One thing I did actually find when I was exploring is this little chasm over here. initially I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, you know, maybe it's a lava fall, but it's not. It's just this big empty chamber, I guess. I don't know. It reminds me a lot of for those of you that have played Risk of Rain 1, there is a area you can find in a lava level similar to this one that you have to go under some lava under a cave and dive down and find this zone. I'll probably put a clip of it up, and it's how you unlock one of the playable characters called Miner, is finding that secret area and killing a boss. And I feel like it's meant to, well, for me at least, it seems to call back to that a little bit and remind me a lot of it. And then another cool thing, there's these big ass spikes out here above the cave system. Like, these things are huge, and you can't really ever see them. You know, now that I'm thinking about it, where the hell are we that we're actually able to get a view of the night sky? But there's also all, are we like at are we in a volcano? Is that where this is meant to be taking place? Is inside a volcano? Now, on to Commencement, which is the moon. So this central chamber is actually like really big. And it has these weird things. These are all over the moon. I'm not really sure what they are. Cool little interesting note that I feel like a lot of people don't notice is there's Providence statues here. A few things I want to show off is actually the what the ship looks like beforehand. You actually can't get in here. It just forces you back up. Huh. I never noticed that before. This is water. It's playing the water sound effect and splashes when I walk on it. Interesting. Here's a closer look at some of the dead soldiers around the thing, and then the actual ship itself is just one of the cargo ships. There is some interesting rubble actually behind one of these altars, and I believe this right here, this will always spawn, this Shrine of Chaos, or Shrine of Order, I mean. Some of the structures here are actually really cool, and you can actually see that this is where Mithrix was building the chimeras that are on the map. There's a lot of their pieces hanging up. And then over here, I assume this is where he was getting the oils and, well, whatever it is that goes into them. Winter chimeras. You can see there's more pieces of his hammer and stuff. It's like a forge, I suppose, is what it's meant to convey. Oh, interesting. This one actually glows blue. And then over here is where a lot of the abandoned weapons are that I showed off in my last video. But yeah, they're just kind of all scattered around the place. Another thing that's kind of interesting is these swords just end in like flat points. They're not barbed or hooked like Providence's was. This big central tree thing that the Mithrix's arena is actually built on, it goes down the entire length of this pit. You see at a certain point the rain actually hits like an invisible floor. But the pit itself just keeps going and going and going, and there's all these rocks and what I can best describe as roots or tendrils, just spiraled and scattered throughout. But this central tree thing goes completely all the way down to the bottom. But yeah, just big pit. Is tied, yeah, this one, for some reason this rock is tied to the camera. I'm not really sure why that's the case, honestly. There's nothing in particular that's special about it from what I can tell. Oh, the whole planet is tied to the camera. Isn't that strange? Huh. Check that out. get a close-up of the whole planet. Get actually a close-up of the guy, in case you've ever wondered what he looks like when he's beating your ass. So he actually does adorn himself in armor. And his hands have all sorts of rings and jewelry on them, it appears. Damn, he needs to cut his nails. But yeah. And if you ever wondered what Mithrix's face looks like underneath the helmet, that's actually his eye. He has just one big eye. Phase 2 Mithrix, after he has come back and done whatever the hell this is to his hammer. Oh, that's great. Okay. And then here's a close-up of him if you ever wanted to see in his Phase 4. After he steals your items. His eye actually goes red. No, it actually is broken. Interesting. I never actually noticed that before. Oh, how strange. I've never gotten a close look at his face before. Alright, so here we are at the Lunar Bazaar, which I showed a lot of in my last video. But I thought I'd go ahead and show off some of the cool places. I've always kind of wondered what it looked like behind here. And there actually is, it's not super noticeable because all the warping, but there actually is a bulwark thing back here. One thing I noticed when I was making the video actually is that behind the seer things where you can pick the next stage, you can just see out of bounds. I guess the developers just forgot to put something here. And there's just a big hole here. Like, you don't even need any kind of cheats or anything, you just see it. And it is actually just straight up a hole. It just goes right out of bounds. And yeah, the skybox for this level is yellow for some reason. I'm not really sure why. You come down here, there's all these things in the roof. And like you see these all over the Void related stages, and I'm not sure if they're meant to be eggs or what. They do resemble like crab eggs. Alright, here we are on Void Fields. I've gone ahead and beaten all the cells so that the fog is cleared up and we can get a good look at everything. And this has always been one of my favorite stages, just in terms of aesthetics. I'm a big fan of like underwater themes, and all the Void stuff tends to have that, which is really cool. Seaweed stuff that's all the way out there does actually go a little bit below the surface, not too far. So you do get to see a majority of it. And then this is what the actual island that we're on looks like, if you've ever wondered. Now, this is one that I've always thought is really cool. This is the Gilded Coast. This is Aurelionite's hidden stage, where you can fight that secret boss. And I got a few things here I want to show off. The stage itself, it's not super apparent where this actually is. Well, other than it being an ocean, but the stage itself is actually this giant mushroom-like stalk thing. And there's a couple other ones that are actually under the water that are growing up out of it. And it goes down pretty far, you can see. But the actual stage itself is chained through with these big rings and being suspended and held up. And these rings go up pretty far. There actually is a good bit of height to them. And they don't have any collision, with the weird exception being the rocks. All of the golden rocks up here have collision, but none of the rings do. For most of it, until you get down to... Or no, this ring, sorry. Yeah, and then the logbook, I believe, I think I've already collected it, but it should spawn about here or so. It's somewhere up these things. You can just climb up and you'll find it. But yeah, it's just kind of a weird, very open stage. And wherever this is supposed to be, because it is a hidden realm, you can see the moon. So I'm really not sure where this is meant to take place, because from my understanding, Aurelionite was sealed away Unless, of course, by sealed away they meant just, like, left in the middle of the ocean, because how was it going to get anywhere? Not too terribly much to show off on the stage. There is a cool little, those of you that don't know, this little pocket of water over here, there's a little artifact. Right, here we are at the Celestial Portal, the moment fractured. And there's really only like two things I want to show off. So there is this weird little island down here where you can get the logbook. It's right beneath the main. Oh! You know, now that I'm looking at it, these kind of look like nude altars. Huh. But there is actually two things I want to show. Well, it's really one thing, but if you can reach this normally, so you don't need cheats to do this, but if you start flying out into the void over here, in roughly this direction, there it is. There is a island with literal Easter eggs on it. And this is kind of a well-known thing, but I figured I'd show it off. It's just this big Easter egg island, and there actually is another one above it, I believe. Though I'm not precisely sure. Over here, I think? Yes, yeah, here we go. There is another one with even bigger Easter eggs. And I think there's a couple of these out here. But these are the only two that I've only ever been able to find, given that you can't see shit. I figured I'd go ahead and show this off too, though there really isn't anything here. It is just a big open white wasteland. But in case you've ever wondered where the logbook is, oh, I pissed him off. In case you ever wonder where the logbook is, it is way out here. I believe I've already picked it up. No, I haven't. Okay. Yeah, you come out here to this little rock, and bam, there you go. So here we are in the Bulwark's Ambry, which is the stage that you get taken to if you input codes into those portals I was showing earlier. And you find those codes on the tablets and stuff that are hidden around the game in a lot of spaces. They're actually, on the topic of those, there is one on the stage itself. If you fly up here to this cute thing, bam. There's actually one hidden on the Bulwark itself. It's very strange. And there's not too much to show on these stages. There's a couple of variants of it, but they're the actual stages themselves, there's not too much to show. But there is kind of a cool thing to show with the weird, I'm not even really sure what you would call this effect, the jello bubble that we're in. It is the skybox, but if we take our camera away from the player, which is what it's tied to, we can eventually reach it. So just for perspective, that's how tiny the actual Bulwark Ambry itself is, and how big this, whatever this thing is around it is. But if we actually pierce through it here, you can see that it actually is see-through, and does truly actually encase the entire thing. It's not just some one-way texture. And interestingly enough, it does have a skybox. You can see the moon and some of the stars, and from what can tell, it does seem to reuse the skybox from, so it probably wasn't intentional. It probably was just snagged for whatever reason, given you can't really see it normally. I mean, you can, just barely right there. But yeah. Alright, here we are. And I don't know if I'm going to say my favorite stage, but it's a top 3 contender easily, is the Void Locus. And this is the secret stage you can reach if you go through the void portal that appears if you loop enough. There's a few things I actually want to show off. So there's a lot of weird geometry in this level. For example, like these gate things that have these weird little eyeball pod things on them. I'm not really sure what these are meant to be. But yeah, there's these weird gates and carvings where this void stuff just rains down out of it. Lots of aquatic flora and plants and stuff like that around the area. This big central platform has always been really cool to me. It goes up, and then this is where you actually go to the boss fight, the Planetarium stage. Cool thing that I'm sure everyone wants to see is the whales. These guys are really fucking cool. You can fly way out here and find them. They're not normally accessible, as per usual. Yeah, they're pretty sick. They actually do have a full model, like completely modeled. It's very strange. And this is one of the only areas you ever actually see them in. And these are going to be talked about in the next video, more than likely, of the unexplained stuff. But yeah, they're fully modeled, fully textured, everything. And they have this cool water surface effect on their underbelly that you can just never see from the regular game. It's completely out of your point of view. And yeah, they just circle around out here. Very cool guys. I love whales, so these guys are one of my favorite little creatures. They're huge, by the way. I'm like the size of their fucking eyeball. And then on the other end of the skybox, as you can see, there's the black hole. Yeah, here we are. So there's not a whole lot going on with it, given that it is a black hole. It's kind of just a bunch of nothing. But yeah, it is fully modeled. Now, I've been saving the best for last, because obviously, but this is the Planetarium. This is where you fight the Voidling, who is down there. And I'll go through this and show off some of the interesting stuff as we progress through the fight. But I'm gonna hold off on spawning him in quite yet. As soon as you descend, he'll go in, because I want to take a closer look at some of the planets out here. They're very cool. Very, very cool. And a lot of them are actually references, from what I understand. So I'm probably just going to do a quick slideshow of all the planets. But if you recognize any of them, let me know in the comments below. I'd love to learn more about it. I'm sure a lot of these are references that I'm not going to understand. Not all of them are fully modeled either. A couple of them are just 2D textures. Interesting. This appears to be that planet that was in the skybox of the night level. The Shattered Impact Night variant. This one, it seems to be a pretty obvious Halo reference. This is actually one that I always look for every time I come here. Now, this one I'm not really sure if this one's supposed to be a reference or not. It does stick out though, compared to the rest of the planets. And I'm gonna assume this one's from Sweet Home, the big blue Earth itself. So one interesting thing to note is that the transitional parkour stages, after you 8 voidling, and he goes to the next zone. All these are actually stored in the same level. You can see the void stage over there. And these are all just stored right next to each other, floating out here in, well, whatever this is. So we've gone ahead and killed the voidling, and off he trots to the next stage, which, as you can see, is actually stored out of bounds over there. You can see him actually land as well. And here is the actually rendered parkour area where you get another glimpse at a void whale. And this is the only other place you see it, as far as I know. You can see there are other like little bubbled zones out here, which I believe are all just 2D images. I don't think there's actually any thing inside of them. Oh no, they do actually appear to be fully 3D modeled. Interesting. What is out here then? Ah, this is Aphelian Sanctuary, I believe. Yeah. Oh, cool. I wonder what the other ones are then. Let's see, what do we got here? I'm not really sure if this one is anything in particular. It kind of resembles a gun. Like a cannon of sorts. Kind of reminds me of the Subnautica cannon. This one kind of resembles the Mithril stage. Interesting. Let's see, what do we got in this one? Some kind of... I don't know, something, I don't know. Contraption? This one we got, I don't know, some kind of big gate. Mountains, it appears. Interesting. Very Stonehenge-y. And then over here we have oh! This is the abandoned aqueduct. It seems to just be ripped right from the stage, too. Huh. Yeah, this is like a 1-to-1 with the stage. Isn't that cool? Even got the fire pit and everything. Very cool. Alright, this one appears to be the... Ah, yeah, I bet. Yes, okay, this is Abyssal Depths. As you can see from the chains and very recognizable geometry. This is even, yeah, this is the cave entrance up here. Very cool. For this one we have I don't know, some form of trees, I guess. Trees and floating platforms and fences. I don't know, if you guys know what this is, let me know in the comments below, I guess. This seems like it's from something, but I'm not sure what, honestly. This one also seems pretty straightforward. Some kind of like asteroid or meteor, some form of planetary body with a bunch of holes in it. And then for this one we have I'm not sure. Is this Sky Meadow, I think? I want to say this is Sky... Yeah, this is Sky Meadow. Yeah, I recognize this right here. This is that very top point of Sky Meadow with the weird little floaty suction wind thing. And then this one is evidently some destroyed version of Titanic Plains, I presume. What the hell? Let's say anything? You can actually, if you pay attention, you can see him just fly off and then disappear. And here's a close-up of his death scene. There you go. Thank you guys so much for watching. It's kind of just a little filler video while I'm working on the next mystery video. So I do want to do a part 2 for that, since the first one seemed to be received really well and I really enjoyed making it. If you're wondering where I am, by the way, this is the AI test stage. It's a developer map for testing AI navigation. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. It helps the channel more than you know, and I am very small. I could use the subscribers.